That hero's been getting picked into Spirit Breaker a lot. The Purge is so good. It's also like if you want to put Nyx in 5 and then maybe pick a Grimstroke, that combo is now like absolutely just poop into Shadow Demon.
It seems kind of like the Bane replacement too, where you get this support that has a good, reliable save, because Weavers just don't like building Ags anymore. It's expensive item that's not as good as it used to be. And ST Luna.
Wow. Truly.
We love it.
So fresh.
I'm excited for the Luna. Luna gets banned every time we feel like it's gonna be set up for her. Every time she's looking good, she gets banned out. I'm a big Luna fan.
Like a fine wine, and getting better with age.
100%.
Busting out the 2013 Bordeaux here and enjoying a nice evening of Dota.
It also just matches like how Fnatic are playing, especially like last game. This faster speed of Dota, Luna like matches that nicely because she's just so good at like flash farming early and then coming out, getting Roche and just walking down lanes, empowering her team with her aura. Able to fight early because of her lucent beams and ults and so on. So like she's just a hero that can get involved and push towers and do things.
We're seeing more and more Raven kind of flex out of that, like, 4 protect 1 hard carry. Something I think maybe Execration, we saw Kamizi talking in the pre-interview, like, oh, they like to, fight around Raven's item timings and like play around him as this big carry. Seems like Fnatic have kind of gone against that and are actually saying, hey, we're gonna go like hyper aggressive instead.
Man, I'm sad that chat can't see it, but like on our screen, Shadow Demon's just bold now. Like we disconnected and reconnected the job. He just lost his cosmetic on his head.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't actually
it's
notice.
like no flames going
I like
on.
it.
Dude, I gotta take a photo.
I was gonna say she was gonna take a photo. She's gonna tweet it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys want to see
I don't
it?
know about tweet it, bro.
But the
Nah, you gotta tweet it.
I'll
the draft
tweet
is
it.
actually paused, which is something that unusual. But that's because I think all 10 players disconnected.
Everyone
yeah.
disconnected. There was issues for a while.
Oh, and apparently you can pick heroes while the game is paused. I did not know
Wait,
that.
what? We are learning
Who
so
knows?
much.
They unpause anyways. They say sorry. Both teams were disconnecting, so I don't think there's any like ill feelings here. But Execration did not want to random a hero.
I tweeted it. He's beautiful.
Nice.
All right.
All the flames are back
Oh yeah, we got another dogs here.
with Spirit. Oh, with Nyx, or you mentioned Spirit. Yeah, maybe
We can
Spirit
go
Breaker
both.
5. Yeah, 2 sick heroes to put Darkseer with,
Yeah.
and Loon is a pretty good wall target.
It actually is such a nice Darkseer game. I would say the only downside to it this game is that Kunkka is obviously really nice against him because usually you like to be able to search your cores around or whoever and like reposition really well, but Kunkka kind of is anti that. It's nice that at least Fnatic showed their carry because if you put Weaver as carry against Darkseer, that hero just feeds like 10 out of 10 times in lane. It's like such an impossible lane. Anytime you're able to surge and then get like, either Weaver's able to catch up to you or there's a support that can like stun you. So even Shadow Demon is not the worst. If you surge and he just disrupts you, you then die because your surge wears off and then you just get chased down the lane. You're not a strong hero really. Your strength lies more in like when you're able to be offensive with your 4 and you both have shells on you. But yeah, I do think it's a really great Darkseer game overall. Lots of synergy, and counters the enemy. So
What are Execration looking to finish out? Is it that late scaling hero that you really like? Sheep.
yeah, they need something.
But maybe not too greedy. At least that's why I don't want to see him go too greedy personally.
Yeah, I think that's what Fnatic are banning out too. I was gonna suggest Razor, but it just got banned. So
yeah.
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you pick?
GG.
If you're Execration, you just. This is
I mean, the
GG
Luna
right now.
counter, the traditional Luna counters use the TB, which they leave in the pool because I think they realize Execration is better off with that more aggressive carry. Mid-game timings, like that's why TA Razor get banned. So, other more timing-based carries like Ursa
Dude,
doesn't feel good.
imagine this. You're playing Fnatic, you put Weaver in the off lane, and then you just simply pick Oracle.
As in Fnatic pick Oracle?
Fnatic Oracle, yeah. Imagine picking Oracle, Execration just like, I don't want to
Dude.
play anymore.
Yeah. To that point, you just put Darkseer 5.
Yeah. It's like, GG.
I was gonna say she's gonna be like, no, you just GG out. After 30 seconds, you just
Just walk
GG
down
out.
mid,
Yep.
pick your items. Yeah, I'm not sure. Offlaners is like what are they missing really? They have team fight, they have push, something to just like maybe a Slardar would be pretty nice. Just to help them roast faster, like help them blow up heroes more with the physical damage.
Yep.
Or maybe something just like tanky to help buy auras or something. Maybe a pipe buy would be okay.
Interesting. Execration actually banned Invoker in that last phase. Maybe thinking Kunkka could flex into the off lane. We haven't really seen it at all. At least not in some time, but...
Sheep, you've done your research. Is that in the Fnatic wheelhouse? Kunkka offlane?
Yeah, 100,000%.
Definitely.
No, Jabs hasn't played it yet in a pro game. He plays like... He could pick Brewmaster here. I know that's a hero he's been playing.
I also want to take note, people watching are probably wondering why the counter for the draft isn't going down. We are having some like weird lobby issues at the moment, so that's why you won't be seeing any of the reserve time being ticked down.
Just more time for us to discuss the draft.
That's right.
Let's talk about Jabs Brewmaster. I heckin' love it. I also think...
You heckin' love it in this lineup.
Yes, because basically they're gonna buff up their cores and heroes with ion shells and surges and stuff, and guess what Brew has? An AoE dispel!
Dang!
Whoa! And he also can clear all of the illusions from the wall, because the dispel also does like 2,000 damage to illusions or something. Silly like that. So I think that would be a perfect fit for their lineup. It also is a hero that's not entirely greedy, so when your Kunkka and your Luna are taking all the farm on the map, you don't need a blink to do your job, you just walk in, split.
You guys guessing those ones, but I appreciate Ares and Danog so much more, so please jump in and take it away for game number 2.
Thank you. Nah, I mean, Danog, I'm looking for my Mate. Off
They get
screen,
5
I
cans?
predicted the Darkseer, and apparently you didn't hear me, but I 100% predicted the Darkseer to get picked up, and now I'm not getting rewarded with any Mate. I do have one in my hand, though. Have you got yours as well?
Oh, of course,
You ready?
of course. Always
of course.
have it.
Okay, are we doing this on a count of 3? Wait, hang on, my lid's not... I gotta...
Always the
Alright,
excuses.
hang on.
First the birthday, now this.
Alright, ready? My fingers...
3,
oh,
2, 1.
Okay. Oh, alright. I kind of accidentally cracked mine already before. Trying to get my finger on a little pop thing. I don't know what you even call that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a game 2 underway. Little bit of a break in between. Fnatic taking on Execration. We do see the 9th pick Brewmaster and the last overall Gyrocopter for Nando. I think Sheepo was saying recently that Execration had played the Gyrocopters. I think, who was it against now? I'm trying to take a look. T1. They did lose that game, if that's the one she's speaking about so far, but he looked pretty solid overall on it. How do you feel about it this game?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Carlo going brr.
Brr.
He's just role-playing the Spirit Breaker. But I don't know, I always feel positive on Nando whenever he plays these more aggressive styles. Like, of course, the Gyrocopter can go very farm-heavy, you know, into the flat cannon. But I feel like whenever you're going up against this style of lineup, I think you need to try and get aggressive and in their face. So the Rocket Barrage, of course, is going to be very successful. And I also do want to highlight the panel as well for predicting that Brewmaster pick. I can confirm they were not fed information, but all the points they mentioned were completely correct. I mean, you're coming up against this, the Bulldoze, you're coming up against the Ion Shell, same sort of thing with the Surge. You just get rid of them entirely with that, with the Wind Panda. So you're having a good time there.
Kimizu's gonna die though. So already the Darkseer not having too hot of a start. Raven and Genuel early first blood, and I mean, yeah, look at how he's brought out with the items too. 4 mangoes. So just the recognition of this lane is all about the spam. And we saw game 1 really was off the back of the poor lane setup that Execration have. Do you feel like they've kind of fixed that issue enough?
It's better, in my opinion. Like, there always still is the issue here. Like, Bob is going to continually get harassed by this this Queen of Pain. You know, Bob can't even walk forward to last hit all that easily. He's not going to get too many denies off against Armel. And, yeah, it's going to be a little bit challenging. At least he's good at juking and jiving out of these torrents, but it's always going to be a little challenging. Top side, they're actually looking to get a little bit of pressure here onto Vincenzo and Nando. DJ might be the one to fall, though.
They got Buster coming out. Or a missile partner with Nando. DJ, though, might turn it back around with the abilities back up shortly. A couple more right clicks will do the dirty work.
Body blocks.
Even the body blocks as well from Jabs. He's got enough mana for the Thunderclap, and Nando gonna have to rely on cutting through the trees. But once again, Jabs with exceptional positioning. And I just asked a question if they've kind of fixed the issue in their lanes, and already 3 kills.
Yeah, already 3 kills. I was kind of considering that Nando might have gone for the TP back, at least to the tower. You know, by that time, Vincenzo would have been back in the lane. He had the salve available just to bring him back to full HP, but instead, obviously just not respecting the fact that they have a lot of damage once they hit up onto that level 2 because of that kill. And level 3 now, actually, on jabs. It's looking a little rough. You do have the good pairings, though. Like, super early on, as long as the Brewmaster isn't there. He's this hero that does need to spend a lot of his time farming, so he can secure that first key item for himself, probably the first 2, and you know, you don't want to really be at too many team fights without that primal split being available, so I think that's the key timing that they're going to be looking for, as Nando is taking a little bit of harass here, but again, homing missile going to protect him. But yeah, it's all about making plays with the Darkseer and the Spirit Breaker on not the Brewmaster's lane, basically.
We see at the moment how difficult of a time they're having in regards to Nando. I mean, 15 last hits compared to the 19 on jabs. We've got another little bit of a pause breaking out. So how do we feel about this bottom lane where we saw the early first blood from Januel? Is this something you're kind of expecting against a Darkseer Spirit Breaker lane?
Not particularly, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you're able to dish out a lot of damage, and I suppose you've always got a lot of passive regen coming through with the Shadow Demon. I believe he's fed a few of those mangoes over to Luna, obviously realizing that, you know, Darkseer plus a melee support is very strong to have to contest against. Same sort of thing with Raven just being Luna, of course, not the greatest attack range, so you are kind of susceptible to Ion Shell damage, but not if you just bully the Darkseer out of the lane. So constantly just giving mana back over to Raven means that you can harass out Kamizu, and yeah, ended up resulting in the first blood, and I feel like they're going to just look to continue that.
It definitely feels like though Fnatic, with how they can combat this Darkseer, you've got a lot of abilities to spam from afar. Already Raven committing to the 2 points in the beam, and we've seen Shadow Demon also already level 3 too. So it's going to be a big factor on kind of playing your distance before they get on top of you with a Surge and the double Iron Shell spam.
Yeah, for sure. Just have to wonder, like, Shadow Demon's one of those heroes that you've got the disruption, so if they even went to go for some kind of, like, pull shenanigans, you can just disrupt it fairly easily because of the fact that you're a Shadow Demon. You don't really care. You can just stop that with a disruption. Even all this harass onto Raven's going to be all for naught. He's got plenty of regen there, just giving over the Tango for now, and still having the salve available for himself.
We saw kind of mid lane was the big X factor in our game 1. Armo absolutely popping off on the Queen of Pain, and it maybe potentially Bob's turn to turn
Nando's
it back around. Yeah, top though, Nando is getting chased down, but Brew's going to be held back thanks to Vincenzo. So how do we feel about Bob overall this game with the Queen of Pain? Do you think it's as good of a QoP game as we saw RML in game 1?
Not necessarily. I mean, it is a lot of burst damage, I suppose, so you might be able to, you know, obviously burst down these heroes before the Shadow Demon save gets off, before that you get that primal split through. It's going to be pretty dependent on the stuns that begin the team fight, I suppose, so I don't think you can put everything onto Bob. But
Color? They'd be in trouble. 4 stacks of the poison. Look at the beam
Upside
as
Raven's
well.
in
They're able to
trouble
burst him down. Raven now is in trouble as Kamizu. So drop in a couple of seconds if he can close the distance on the Luna. Cutting through the tree line, playing perfectly well. Selvas Noel, but instantly taking care of Raven. Finally brought down, and Kamizu's going to look to turn for a secondary target. He's going to have the Spirit Breaker up pretty shortly. He'll look to TP to the tower and then charge on forward afterwards. But of course, just lacking some of the vision. I see how Jia gets out of this one, though.
I reckon you probably want to die here in this situation. You know, you've got no health, no mana, and you don't really want to expend that TP and just run the risk of dying again. So we'll see. I mean, I think you're totally fine with giving up the kill on the Shadow Demon. The Luna, of course, is a much bigger deal, but that has to just go to giving some props to this lane combination, right? Kamizu plus Carlo certainly having an easier time of this lane after giving up that first blood.
Are you watching the play cams right now? Kamizu's on stream, and my guy is laughing up a storm. I don't know if he's... Oh, he leaves out. All right, well, Genuel probably wanted to die, like you were saying, but yeah, Kamizu's loving life. We saw the interview before the series started saying he's a big fan of Bob and loves Bob carrying the games, and it looks like they were kind of enjoying themselves, even though they're a game down here in this series.
Let's see here, Carlo, he put down the sentry ward, so of course he has the vision to get rid of that sentry that's blocking up the hard camp at the moment, but he wants to wait until the very last second so that you don't get Jao walking in just to re-block it. So I think he'll wait for, about the 55-second mark to do it. He's shattered him in there in time. No, he's not, so at least you're going to have the ability to now pull the lane a little bit further with the Darkseer and get some of that more passive farm so that you don't have to be going up into a lot of this this magic damage harass coming out. That's one of the big benefits of the infused raindrops as well, especially
Top lane,
with Luna.
Nando's in trouble. Look at the damage that they're dishing out already. Jabs level 5, 3 points in the Cinder Brew, and he's able to get that last little swing. Now they're going to chase down Vincenzo as well. It's a little bit difficult without the primal split, but it's another lane that is going really well here for Fnatic. And Jabs, it looks like is this a media build that we're going to see eventually from the Brew?
It might even just be a passive Ring of Health just to make sure that he's able to stay in the lane a little bit more.
Bottom lane, Januel. It's going to be brought down armor. We'll TP in on over though. As the boat's available and the control and the damage plentiful to be able to blow up Kimizu. A nice rotation here from the Conqueror. Now it does leave Bob solo. We'll see him try and shove at the lane simultaneously top. The action continues across the map as DJ brought down the burst. Too much for them to handle. They're still going to be cautious though. Jabs is going to have enough mana shortly with this Soul Ring usage. And if Nando keeps posturing like this, he might just turn it back around.
It was a little bit keen by DJ that time around. Obviously, having a Weaver is a great way to be able to proc that Cinder Brew.
Yeah, Jab's going to go for it. Split pop, the Nando is going to have to try and play off the cute Jukes, but doesn't even get in the trees. First use of the primal split. Jabs will now turn his attention to Vincenzo, even with DJ involved. He just wants some urn charges, and it looks like the Weaver will find them.
Yeah, I mean, you just use the TP to get back to that lane, right? So it's the walk of shame for this Gyrocopter, but it honestly feels like he doesn't even want to go back to that lane. He might be forced to go down to the bottom side. I mean, at least there's not amazing tower taking potential with this Brewmaster and the Weaver, but yeah, Jabs is having a completely free game right now. This Brewmaster pick on that last phase is really working out for Fnatic.
Nice TP from Raven. Cute little nook he was able to put himself in. Januel still stuck around, however. And Execration even going to bring Nando down bottom. So he has had enough of this top lane. Already 3 deaths with the Gyrocopter and is needing to find another home.
Makes a lot of sense, but without the Queen of Pain, you can't really kill this Brewmaster, right? So I feel like DJ is just going to assist with this pushing forward, just try and get a lot of damage onto the creep waves and just do the damage to take out this top tower. So this is pretty much a no-go zone for Execration right now.
Oh, bottom to go zone for Fnatic is Armel. This Invis, he can just gap close on Nando. There's even some extra TP rotations just in case Armel is lacking the damage, which it looks like he's well and truly not. Nando ticks out to the poison. They're going to try and chase down Kimizu. DJ is just such a nuisance already. 9 minutes in. The Weaver's going to run up a high ground blindly into Vincenzo, and oh, that's the price to pay.
Nice play there. Vincenzo made sure he was right at the top of the stairs, popped the spike carapers, put down the sentry ward, and they were able to get that turnaround kill. I mean, Bob getting a ton of farm is the way that you're going to be able to come back into this game. He's the only one sitting remotely close to winning their lane. And again, a lot of the agency does feel like it is on Fnatic right now, but if Bob's able to make it play, he can certainly bring it back.
This is back-to-back games now. We've seen really early level 6s from the Nyx Assassin. Already pre-10 minutes in, you see exactly what Vincenzo needs to do. Just continuously scouting out where the Luna's positioning. We're getting some information down by the triangle because you've got a hero like the Queen of Pain who can get active and provide the burst, and even the Spirit Breaker as well, which we'll see now come into play. It'll take some time.
You got the Vendetta damage as well. He's going to wait until the very last second here on Vincenzo.
He's going to see Bob running on over. This should be pretty obvious, but is Raven close enough to any of his objectives to get out to safety with the use of the Mask of Madness? And now they're going to be cautious because Jab's going to TP on over. Level 8, ultimate still in the arsenal. And Vincenzo, it's going to be a fallen foe here.
What happened with Carlo? Did he just cancel his charge?
I mean,
he picked up a haste, so I'm thinking maybe he wanted a little bit of extra damage, but
he's going to try and charge on mid. Armel's not an easy kill at all, but it looks like if they can burst him before the boat, Surprising amount of damage from Bob. They've still got heroes nearby. Kimizu, though, lacking the surge capability to get out to safety. My God, Chaps. You were saying before the series to me that Fnatic have been last picking Jab's hero pretty often, but my guy has looked exceptional so far in this series. We saw the Darkseer, I think, in the second phase. You know, this time the Brew was in the last phase, but look at how he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, that Ring of Health, right, means that you don't really have to care when you've already won the early stages of the lane. You can just continue to move forward, make the most of the use of that Soul Ring, and it's just going to be a really early Ags that Jabs is picking up here.
Don't they just dive Nando? They might not even need to slip for it. Forced to drop the core down, incredibly defensive just to maybe thwart the attempt from Fnatic, but regardless, Nando stacking up the deaths. We've got our third support this game for Execration. Net worth not looking good at all.
Yeah, 5 deaths so far for this Gyrocopter. Not what you want, and it's not like they've even done that because there's been a lot of space
still coming out. Carlo, incredible charge on forward, finding the connection on multiple heroes. But the damage lacking at the moment. Bob not having the Sonic Wave in the arsenal is still going to jump on forward, but he's got to be cautious because Armel standing hand in hand. They've got the boat up shortly, but Bob's out to safety, and now they'll turn their attention to the Weaver as Fnatic sticking around for a little bit too long as they trade 3 for 1.
Okay, well, that works out a little bit better for them, but again, unless the Gyrocopter is the one benefiting from all of this, it feels like still a bit of a feels bad man sort of situation. And it's not even like they've started to build up too many stacks for him to be able to go back and farm in his own jungle. I count 0 essentially for Execration so far, so it's a little bit of a rough spot.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You just contrast that with what they've been able to build up here for Raven. Of course, being able to take that tier 1 tower means that his farming rotation can extend up to having a couple of extra camps. It keeps this wave pushed out quite nicely. And again, once the next assassin isn't showing on the map, that's when he'll look to back off, but he's really making the most of this observer ward that was placed up 5 minutes ago next to Januel on the top side of the map.
Execration look to posture towards the triangle. Now, one's home at the moment.
It's a bit of information as well, though. Like, it's not just who you can find, but also what you can find. And they can see that there's no stacks, so Luna's going to be farming aggressively on this side of the map.
Well, they see Raven. Charge on forward. Januel standing hand in hand. Doesn't look like there's going to be much to be able to keep the Luna alive, but incredible banishment. At least dodges some of the damage from the Sonic Wave, but nonetheless, Execration will overwhelm the side of Radiant, but they're still looking to take the fight. They've got Boat split up in a couple of seconds. Kimizu's the target if they can burst through the Darkseer, which they'll do so successfully. A 2 for 1 trade to start. What more are we going to see out of this team fight? Bruce still posturing.
It's a big commitment. I mean, they popped every single ultimate to make sure that happened, and allowed the rest of the team the rest of the team to join in on that. So you do get the return kill without even popping the primal split as well. We need to consider that too. So Jabs, he just continues to creep closer and closer to picking up that big ultimate that's going to benefit the team. Probably will hit it around the same sort of time as his level 12. So it's pretty devastating to have to come up against that, especially when, again, you've got these 2 heroes that want to be using a lot of these buffs for themselves. The Spirit Breaker, the Darkseer, a big part of their kit is going to be rendered meaningless by one single hero.
It's like with these ultimates on cooldown, Fnatic will convert easily into their second objective claimed. This is going to further diminish how much farm Nando can get across the map. I'm really surprised with how close in net worth he is to the Luna. I mean, he's 1-5-0, and Raven at the moment 0-2-3. So the fact that he's actually getting this much farm, I'm really impressed with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has gone for a little bit more of that farming style, I suppose. Just the 1 point in the Rocket Barrage, the 1 point in the homing missile. So he's certainly itemized for it, but yeah, definitely the early stage could have gone a whole lot better for him. As I'm hearing another charge go out. This time it's on DJ, right underneath his own tower. So
Carlo's going to run straight past Armel, though. So see the rest of Fnatic looking to join down bottom for the eventual team fight. This information is enough to get them out of dodge. Very nicely done. I mean, this was something that Fnatic did exceptionally well with in game one, just the info that the Nyx Assassin could provide them. And now we're kind of seeing it come into play here from Execration. The top, Bob is going to run straight to Raven. The trap sprung, not enough damage. Bob out to safety.
Close one.
Very
The
close.
one extra point in the Lucent Beam, you would have been able to take him out there, but you know, not quite. At least it forces back the Queen of Pain. She does feel a little bit more confident in wanting to take a team fight now, though, but in that time, Jabs has finished that Aghanim Scepter. Wonder if they will still play a little bit more passively, at least until he heads up onto that level 12.
What do we feel like is some of the early timings that we could see come out for Execration to maybe put their stamp on this game?
I mean, it has to be the BKB for the Gyrocopter. You've gone, obviously, this farm-heavy style, but you do need to start contributing it at some point in the near future, especially, you know, before the Luna gets to this hyper-carry style of stage. But, I mean, I guess you also have the Darkseer, right?
Uh-oh, look at this movement from Fnatic, straight to the Gyrocopter, farming in the triangle, but the quick TP out is not fast enough. Once again, the answer's there. Nando stacking up the deaths this game, up to 6 so far, and is there? He'll be fine. Just a heads out TP for himself.
You have to always remember that with this Darkseer, you've always got potential in the late game, especially against a Luna, right? Like, just consider the amount of damage that you're able to dish out if it gets to that stage. So a lot of it, of course, it sucks that the Gyrocopter's dying, but you have this strategy in your back pocket. It is putting a lot of reliance onto Kamizu, though, who, let's be honest, didn't look the best in that game number 1. His farm was well below what you would come to expect from an OD.
Do you feel like he might be a little bit more confident on the Darkseer?
I think so. I mean, the death in the lane obviously would have hurt his ego a little bit there, but it's a game that you're going to need to feel very confident on because, again, Brewmaster, Shadow Demon, they make your life incredibly difficult at this Darkseer. It feels like, you know, the Aghanim Scepter is going to be nice that he's nearly finished up, but it's really the Blink Dagger that you're really waiting for in order to have that true late to mid-game teamfight impact.
And that was another weakness in the draft that we saw from Execration in game 1, where not only was it the weakness in their lanes, but also just the weakness in how they could take team fights. And now it's completely different. You know, the Darkseer matchup versus the Luna as the game goes later is exceptional. You do have issues with the Brew, and I mean, those issues are really going to be, I think, heightened in this game, considering how well Jabs has been farming. And now this leads me to a question of, do you like him not going Midas on Jabs? Because I really think Brew could just solo win this game with how good the Primal Split is.
Yeah, I mean, he's going into the refresher as well, though, right? So the question is really, are you playing for the super late game or are you playing for the now? And I feel like if you're able to have 4 primal splits at the...
Execration are playing for the now. Carlo's going to look to try and charge Raven at the moment, but instantly answered thanks to the Purge and with the backline. Armel going to try and target down Nando. They've got plenty of damage with the helper. Jabs by Gyrocopter. Now they can turn towards Kamizu. The BKB timing working dividends here from Fnatic as now Carlo's next on the agenda. An X back from Armel into the grasping hands of Fnatic as they find a 3-for-1 trade and now into some extra objectives.
You just see how much control that Brewmaster is able to provide you, right? Like, it's very different from the Enigma Galaxy versus Polaris game that we watched before in Division 2. You know, I couldn't count a single time where In Your Dream was able to just stand there and fight as the Luna. This time around, you've got a Brewmaster that provides you that. You've got a Kunkka that enables you to team fight. And you can just see the big difference there in the damage he's able to output.
Tower is under attack.
Obviously,
Scary things.
feeling very confident, but still respecting Execration. The creeps might be able to take this tower on their own. Wonder if Carlo's going to go for the deny or just keep it available to not remove that outpost potential. As, oh, speaking of Carlo,
He's in trouble. He's still very beefy this hero overall. He's got some one charges too to play with. In fact, he's going to look for the charge out. Ooh. But the bugs might do the dirty work. And in fact, he hasn't even gone far enough away. So DJ is able to quickly close the distance, the help of the Spirit Vessel, enough to tick the Spirit Breaker.
and the pings immediately onto that tier 2 tower as well. So Armel, he's going to be able to quickly claim that one for Fnatic, and well, that opens up the potential for Roshan. Neither of these teams amazing at being able to take it, but of course with a Weaver it does make your life a little bit easier, of course, with the Lunar Blessing on top of that, and might even be the instant rotation into it as well.
They just... How do you team fight into Fnatic right now? You've got 2 split opportunities. Rum buff is just ridiculously strong, and also the saving support in Januel. So we've seen how Fnatic have just beelined to Nando whenever a team fight breaks out, and it's going to be no different now. Ages in the hands of Raven, 6,000 net worth lead, and Fnatic another game where they're looking in the driver's seat.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the laughs. It really does feel like, again, it's at this stage of the game where the BKBs on Fnatic are still pretty healthy. You know, 8 seconds on both the Luna and the Kunkka. And as long as you get off the split on Brewmaster, you don't really care about any kind of hero that they've got here on Execration right now. You're just super survivable. So Kamizu, his Blink Vac wall, isn't going to have that super late game impact until these BKBs get either super low or you're able to kite out these team fights for long enough to enable it to truly have that the impact that you need. So the downside is they don't really have anyone else to like start their team fights other than this Spirit Breaker with an Ion Shell on him. So maybe this Shadowblade timing on the Spirit Breaker is what they need.
They're gonna look to start the fight, and you know, they blow up Januel, now turning their attention to Armel, but a little bit more difficult of a task here to go through. At least they forced a super early usage of the BKB, but now with the split, firm control around the triangle as Execration have to get out of dodge, but unfortunately Jabs, he can close the distance with ease as Nando cycloned up in the air. I mean, there's no one nearby to help him out, but it looks like he's okay because they'll turn their attention to Bob instead. X-Back control lacking at the moment. Bob's just gonna go for a TP out afterwards. They have a cancel all the damage. They have neither.
Just able to get away. But yeah, again, it's one of these situations where you're relying very heavily on a position 4 with Shadowblade to start all of your engagements and try and bait out these BKBs. Raven, his BKB is like
Kamizu's being stalked. Januel still holding on to the banishment, and Nando's sticking around as well. I mean, he doesn't have a TP, so he's stuck top. They have this awareness. They can just continue to hunt as DJ. Oh, he's on the task.
Where is he?
Nando, don't leave. Don't do it. All right, well, he's okay. Simultaneously, Kamizu. Now, actually, apologies. They lose Vincenzo across the map. Raven solo kill with the use of the Eclipse.
Not even needing to, of course, pop the BKB. So the Spike Carapace not doing him any favors, unfortunately. And Raven just continues to farm away. You know, he's growing his net worth lead even further and further. And he's almost going into that Skadi as well. So it's another one of those things that, of course, it's not your main role in a team fight. But you're just going to assist with, again, holding people around a smallish area, buffing up the effectiveness of your Kunkka, your Brewmaster. Hell, even the Weaver's going to be doing a ton of damage in all of these team fights. Like, look at DJ. He's going for a BKB himself. That's how greedy and how impactful this item is going to be against the Darkseer. If you're BKB, back wall, you don't care.
Welcome back.
I'm also a huge fan of this gem being picked up early. Januel is giving it to Armel, and I mean, you've got a strong lead early through the mid game. As we'll hold that thought. Execration smoked up as 5. Might be a bit obvious as the creeps got cleared. Actually, I think Nando was showing. See how they can start this. Bob's gonna run straight to DJ, but they've got the vision, and DJ's just gonna protect himself with the time lapse. Now Vincenzo has compromised his own position just to maybe try and de-ward the area, but this feels like a fight that Execration are unable to take. Everyone's out of the area.
Just using the dust to be able to pick him up there. You always feel bad with a double damage. Kunkka coming at you, and yeah, just get one shot.
I mean, again, this gem, a huge fan of it. Luna is quite the mid-game, sort of hero where if you have a net worth lead like this, you can go high ground at such a rapid rate, and you just want to get firm grasp of the map. And the Nyx has been such an issue. We saw really early on some of the plays they tried to make around it, but now having a gem and losing all your vision, it's going to make it that much more difficult to find a window. How do you start this fight? It's all on Kamizu. A wall used, but the vacuum lacking at the moment. Armel very deep on the front line, but the BKB protect him for quite some duration. As Radiant looking to overwhelm them on Dire's high ground. As Raven standing his ground. Nando's got no hope to fight the Luna. As Bob's the next target. They've only lost the Conquer. 4 down. Spirit Breaker attempting to buy back to return them. Even Nando is going to buy back as well. 25 minutes in. 8 deaths on your gyrocopter.
They're still going
They
forward.
might even make it a 9th as well. They might even call it. It's Fnatic. Steamroll inside the base. That's a dieback on your gyro. I mean, this one's feeling done and dusted.
Yeah, you can't really look to defend against this without your gyrocopter. You're just basically giving up your entire base. They're just going to go straight for the tier 4s because outside of Bob, how do you
Wow.
stop this push?
Wow.
Jabs,
Fnatic.
he's got that refresher as well, right? So just continues to stand on the front lines. As soon as anyone starts to come outside of the base, he's just going to pop his ulti again and zone them out completely.
What a
Oh, no.
masterclass.
Oh, no. Not his own spray right in the
You gotta
fountain.
do it to him.
Tower has fallen.
One last defense? Maybe. I mean, that is quite the way to start, but with no damage to follow up afterwards. A hope and a prayer. Fnatic. Man, that's a statement of a series. You just wiped the floor versus Execration. Game 1, Game 2, really no struggles at all. The performance we saw through the lanes, the team fighting prowess as one last hope of a defense, but the throne's soon to fall. Raven, he's still got BKB, and he gets a kill before he dies. Fnatic. What a series.
Armel's just having a bit of a stretch. Easy
He's
clap,
chilling.
he says to himself. And yeah, Jabs, all smiles along with DJ. It's just, that's the sort of game that you want. It's the power of the blanket for Zhao as well. And yeah, Jabs, absolutely MVP of that series. And before the panel can get in, I am going to claim him as my MVP vote of the week. So BL with that one, boys and girls. As yeah, that's a pretty clean 2-0 victory as we round out this series.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic, Game 1, they put themselves in the driver's seat for the series, and then Game 2 was looking a little bit more even of a draft, but I mean, that lane, Jabs, with the help of DJ, just absolutely wiped the floor. We saw how they were able to play off the back of this early lead, and again, we said it towards the end, just a masterclass performance from Fnatic, and they're now putting themselves in a potential position to hunt
playing
for
for
that
second.
top 3 slot. Yeah,
Second
this is
they can get as high as that.
It's exactly what we want to see from the new roster in Fnatic. Looking incredibly strong in this series. We'll send it over to a break where we'll see the panel break it down afterwards.
Thank you so much, Aries and Danog, for that series. I am very excited about Fnatic taking this series 2-0 because they were looking so good. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Game 1 was a little bit of a steamroll on behalf of Fnatic, and Game 2, pretty much exactly the same, I would have to say.
It didn't look incredibly stompy. Like, if we look at Kimizu, he was a part of 19 kills.
True.
Wait, that can't be correct. How was he a part of 19 kills? He only had 15. The scoreboard's lying to me.
I think it's maybe some weird wall thing. I can't
Might be.
remember. I don't remember. There's some weird bug.
That's weird.
I think he
That is
gets
really weird.
assists for some of the kills Fnatic are getting, maybe.
It's like, wow, he looks amazing. No, never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah, he got some. Okay, so I would say the biggest thing that made this draft, like, absolutely just out draft completely was just the amount of purges. Like, between Shadow Demon ult and the Brewmaster dispel, it was like, how does Execration play? You have a Spirit Breaker that just instantly gets his Dave's resistance and everything like purged off him. Darkseer can't do anything to anyone. Iron Shells are gone. Like, you buy an Ags and then the effect of the Ags is gone. The Surge gone. Like, your carry's getting, like, especially with the Shadow Demon ult, which constantly refreshes the debuff. You literally just can't do anything for the entire duration of it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all these fights like really started to crank up before Gyro could have his BKB completed, and that's been my main issue with just Gyro in general as a carry. Is it feels like you need too many items because most carries you're getting BKB. Like, if you need to get second item, you can. Gyro, it's like got to get Falcon Blade, then your Ags. Like, there was a Crystallis in there as well. Like, if you just go straight into BKB, you do no damage to Gyro basically.
Does that mean that at the end of the day, Jaro still could have been the best pick. It just was that Fnatic outplayed Execration so much.
Definitely outplayed. I think there was for sure an element of draft. It felt like Fnatic prepared really well for this series. Had a very good understanding. You know, game one it was laying the OD through. This game around it was drafting against the Spirit Breaker. I just think they did a nice job, like going for these like kind of counter picks in a sense. Like they're not going like all in, like oh they pick this, let's pick all the hard counters. But it's like they have they have a tool, they have a spell. Like Shadow Demon is a good hero regardless of whether it's like the Demonic Purge is a counter something in the game. But when it does counter something like a Spirit Breaker, it's that much better.
Definitely. For you, Sheepo, if you're Execration, what do you take away from this series? What can you learn from it? Asking you the tough questions now.
Well, I feel like they got outdrafted in most games, so that's definitely an area to look at. It's kind of awkward for them because they do play stuff that's a little outside of the current bubble, like with their Ogre first phase, and it works for them sometimes, but other times it just falls flat. So maybe you just need to like fix some issues there. It's really hard to say. I don't like I don't like blaming draft. I think blaming draft is a real cop out a lot because they're losing all their lanes, right? Even when they have Puck against Queen of Pain or whatever, it's still like you're not having good game impact. There's definitely a lot. There's just a lot to look at in a game like that.
Maybe laning phase is one of the key ones.
I feel bad for them. I'm not really sure exactly what their issue is. Maybe it's just that their mechanical skills just not quite up there. Because it's not like they don't grind and play. They are playing third-party tournaments and trying to get better, so...
They're working on it. They
Yeah,
probably know there's stuff to work on. But we are going to do our normal end of series tradition, and that is get a winner's interview going on. We do have Raven joining us for this. Raven, how are you?
Oh, hello. I'm fine.
How are you and the team feeling after that series?
We felt pretty good. I think we played really well, and I that's it. I think.
I would agree you played very well. A lot of teams have been struggling to come up against OD, but you guys look fantastic on it. How have you been preparing for that, and why do you think you guys did so well against it?
I think we just copy some people. I saw some player in NA play the CK,
Hmm?
so I just tried to copy it, and I think it's really good versus Audi. So I think that's what happened.
You showed us it definitely does do very well against OD.
Yeah.
I want to ask Raven, you're a player kind of more known, you know, at least going further back, being like that super hard carry late game. This series, like two kind of quicker games. The CK game one, very aggressive here. Luna, you know, it's a farming hero, but also can be aggressive in lane. Do you have a style of play that you prefer as a player? And is this like a team decision to have you play these more aggressive heroes more recently?
Mm, I would say it's a maybe team decision, but if of course if I want to be like my own style, of course I want to be like like AM, like Ame style.
Yep.
But you gotta do for the team.
I wanted to ask, you guys draft a lot with Jabs' hero usually gets like last picked. What was the
Yeah.
decision behind that? Like why do you mostly give it to him on the last pick?
Mm, I think it's just the laning phase. It's kind of hard to if you lose the off lane, it's kind of hard to play already. So we're trying to just pick him last and win the lane.
Before we let you go, I do want to ask, you still have your series up against T1 coming up. How are you going to be preparing for that one?
Mm, I'm not sure. They're a very strong team, and I think we just gotta practice for like 2 days and try our best the
Well,
next series.
good luck with the next series. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the win today.
Yeah, thank you.
Going to be doing a lot of... I forgot about the wave.
Fool.
I'm sorry.
How do you forget the
Forgive me. They said they're going to be doing a lot of practice up against T1. You guys think that they could potentially take it if we have a look at the standings here?
The reason why they couldn't.
I
Yeah?
agree. Yeah, they're playing much better. Their losses came earlier on in the season. Like they played Boom as well as SMG. I think SMG was like their first series maybe. So I think since then this Fnatic team is starting to gel better. They're getting a different idea of how to draft and what works for them and what, how to play. They've got a totally new 5-position player on the team. They've got a new mid laner. Things have to look and feel a bit different for them. And Jabs is adjusting to the offlane, so it's a very different Fnatic team to what played at the International. So I think against T1, it should be very close.
Do you guys remember the last series Execration has to play? Who it's up against?
It's against OB Neon. That's the.
Is it not Motivate Trust in Neon?
Sorry, no. Oh, Execration.
Yeah.
I think it's against Boom.
Oh, okay. Cause
Yeah, I think they're in a rough spot.
I was looking at the standings, and it's like if OB Neon win against Motivate Trust, then they're tied, and if Execration lose against Boom, then all three of them tie.
Yes.
And I think after the showing today, I don't want to be mean to teams, but after today's showing from Execration, it is looking likely that they will drop to Boom. And then
we'll just be blunt about it. Boom, we're gonna smoke them. Smoke them. It's not even gonna be close.
I don't want to say it, but yeah.
Really, to avoid tiebreakers, they're hoping Trust beat Neon because then you've got two teams who are 1 and 6. So, because chances are Execration end 2 and 5, so they could find themselves in a 3-way tie where only one of the 3 teams gets relegated. So I think in that 3-way tie they still have a good shot at getting out, but.
Who knows? It is all, to be seen. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I get nervous on the singles, okay? But we have finished our first series in Division 1 for today. We do have a second series coming up after this break. It's going to be very good. It's the reason why we have the gold pants on. It is going to be T1 and Boom. So make sure you stick around.